Hello everybody, Jennifer Maker here. It is a beautiful day to combine two of my favorite things into one super fun craft with a very surprising twist. I am talking about butterflies and explosion boxes. This butterfly explosion box is something I've been wanting to make and share with you for a long time now, and the day is finally here. And best of all, the surprise at the end is so much fun. Like seriously, the fun factor is off the charts for this one. So come with me to my craft table and we'll get started. So no doubt you've heard of an explosion box, or maybe even made one yourself. These are really cool. It's essentially a greeting card in a box, but there's so much more to it. You can add little notes, money, pictures. There are just so many ways to customize explosion boxes. They're very popular. One of my favorite explosion boxes is my heart explosion box, which you can find over on my blog at jennifermaker.com/heart explosion box template. It is so pretty with all the little places to add personal touches, don't you think? Well, this new butterfly explosion box is even cooler than that. But I don't want to spoil the surprise just yet, so let's go over the materials first, shall we? So first you need a good quality cardstock. I'm using both 65 and 80-pound solid core cardstock in a variety of colors. You get to pick the colors, that's the fun part. And I recommend a precision craft glue like Brayer art glue to hold everything together without a huge mess. And we also need popsicle sticks, wire, rubber bands, and pliers. I will use these for the surprise ending. Stay to the end to see it. I promise it will be worth it. Now you can cut this project out by hand with the PDF files, but it is a lot easier to use a Cricut cutting machine. I'm going to use my Cricut Maker 3 and all of these accessories to cut out my cardstock. This design has a lot of intricate cuts and the cutting machine makes quick, precise work of it. And speaking of intricate cuts, I know that's something that many of you struggle with. Picking the right cut settings and removing the delicate pieces like these wings from the cutting mat can seem tricky, but I have some great tips and tricks for that too. I'll show you my favorite tool, which will save you loads of material and frustration. So let's start by getting the free patterns for this fun project, and then we will cut and assemble it together. Step 1, get the free exploding butterfly box design. First, go to jennifermaker.com/397 and look for libraries in the red bar at the top. And then either click Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the library. You can find the design by searching the page for design number 397 and then click it to download a zip file with an SVG file for cutting on a Cricut or another cutting machine, a DXF file, and a printable PDF for cutting by hand. This design can be cut by hand using the PDF pattern, or you can cut it on a cutting machine with the SVG cut files. Let me show you how to cut the design on a Cricut cutting machine, and then I'll show you how to assemble it. The SVG folder has two subfolders, one for use with the scoring tool, and the other designed to make creases with dashed cut lines. I'm going to show you how to make the files labeled No Score Tool Needed, but if you prefer, you can use a scoring tool. Follow the directions from my DIY envelope tutorial to adjust and cut the other version. You can find that tutorial over on my blog at jennifermaker.com/how-to-make-an-envelope. In the folder with the No Score Tool Needed in the name, you'll find 3 SVG files that we'll use for this project. The file named Exploding Butterfly Box has the 4 boxes and lids with 2 note card pockets and 2 blank note cards per box. The file with bigger box in the title has all of the same elements at a larger size. I'll explain more about that one later on. Today I'm going to show you how to make the 4x4 box with dashed cut lines and the big surprise I'm so excited about, butterflies that really fly. Wait till you see how fun these are. So first, upload your chosen box and the Magic Flyer SVG files to Cricut Design Space. If you're unsure how to do this, go to jennifermaker.com/svgs to learn how to unzip and upload SVG files. Step 2. Prepare and cut your exploding butterfly box design. Here's what the exploding butterfly box designs look like on the Design Space canvas. You can zoom out to see everything by clicking on the minus sign in the lower left. The proportions of the designs are important, so I don't recommend resizing it. You can experiment with changing the colors, but I suggest you first make one that uses the same colors as my demonstration. There are a lot of pieces, and this way the instructions will be easier to follow because the colors will match. All right, so everything is ready to cut. Make sure you have the right machine selected and click Make It. If you're prompted, click on Mat, 12 by 12 inch, and Continue. To save time and materials, you can combine the elements on Mat 10 onto Mat 9 and Mat 14 onto Mat 13. Just select a shape that you want to move, click the three dots, and click Move Object. Then click the mat you want to cut the shape on, and then drag it to an open space. Repeat for the other items and mats. This will give you 14 total mats. Click Continue in the bottom right. For the black box layers with butterfly wings, I found that the cardstock for intricate cuts setting worked the best. To find it, click Browse All Materials and type Intricate in the search bar. Then select the result, click Apply, and leave the pressure at default. For all the other mats, I used medium cardstock setting with more pressure. Make sure your Cricut fine point blade is clean and in clamp B. Place your first mat's cardstock on a green standard grip machine mat. Use a brayer to adhere it well to your mat. Load your mat into your Cricut and press the flashing button to begin. Once the mat is finished, unload it, flip it over onto your workspace, and gently roll a corner back to release the cardstock. Complete the process for the rest of the mats, loading the colors in the order indicated on your screen. Remember earlier when I mentioned the best tool for intricate cuts? Here it is, the spatula. No, not the one you use on the grill. This tiny spatula works wonders when it comes to removing intricate pieces of cardstock from a machine mat, like these delicate butterfly wing pieces. Gently wedge the spatula between the cardstock and the mat, taking your time to slowly lift the intricate pieces so they don't tear. Keep in mind that all pieces are shaped exactly the same for each box. They're just different sizes. The largest pieces will go with box 1, and the smallest will go with box 4. You'll also have some additional pieces for the magic butterfly wings and the accents for the outside and lid of box 1. As you cut each mat, stack the items by box number. Refer to your Design Space canvas if you're ever unsure which pieces go with which box. There are some extra butterfly cutout pieces as well. If you want, you can add those to the inside box lids to make them a little extra fancy. Step 3. Assemble your exploding butterfly box. First, find the pieces for your largest box. Place the main box piece on your work surface with the exterior face up. Apply a very thin line of glue just around the outside edges of the top wing area in one of the butterfly corners. Then apply a top wing piece face down. Be sure to align it with the edges of the piece attached to the box below before pressing down. Flip your main piece over to make sure no glue seeped out underneath. If you see any, just wipe it away gently with your finger or a paper towel. Make sure your box is face down and apply a thin line of glue around the outside edges of the bottom wing area, avoiding the dashed cut lines connecting the wings to the box. Attach a bottom wing piece following the same method as above. If you're using the same colors of cardstock as I am, you can rotate the colors you use in each color to give your box a more uniform look. Repeat this process for the other 3 butterfly corners. Now take the main box piece and begin folding the 4 box sides on the dashed cut lines, with the inside of the box face up. Push in the corner wings as you bring the 2 sides of the box together. It helps me to use a scraper tool to crease the wings neatly down the center. Repeat this process for the remaining 3 corners of the butterfly explosion box piece. This is what box 1 should look like with everything folded. Now take your 2 square pieces with rounded corners and put glue on the back. Glue one in the center of the left box piece's inside wall and the other on the right box piece. Make sure you have an equal amount of the main box piece showing around all edges of each square. Now take your 2 pocket pieces, which mimic the shape of the top of a butterfly's wings and head, and fold the tabs inward. Use your scraper tool to get nice, sharp creases. Apply glue along the tabs and place 1 pocket on the top box piece so there's an equal amount of the main box piece showing to the left, right, and below it. Press down to adhere the tabs. Take one of your white note cards and place it inside the box. Follow the same process for the other pocket and note card. Here's what the inside of my first box looks like with all of the accessories attached. Now flip your box over so the outside is facing you. Take your 4 squares with butterfly pieces cut out of the centers and apply glue to the back of each one. Attach them to the sides of the box, making sure the butterflies all face outward. If you're unsure which direction a piece should go, pick the box and hold it with the sides closed. Position your square piece on the side so the butterfly is facing up and hold it in that position. Now let's assemble the lid. Find the butterfly-shaped piece with the cutouts and the 2 pieces for the top and bottom wings. Apply glue to the back of the butterfly along the outside edges, just like you did for the corner wings. Attach the wing pieces, making sure they're aligned before pressing down. Set this piece aside to dry. Now grab the lid piece and place it face down in front of you. Fold the 4 sides inward. And now flip that piece over. Take the 2 triangle-shaped pieces and apply glue to their backs. Place one in each corner of the lid's center, making sure they don't overlap the dashed cut lines. Take your assembled butterfly and fold the wings upward slightly. Put a line of glue along the underside of the body section. Place it in the center of the lid and press down to adhere it. Now add glue to the tab at the end of each side of the lid. Place each tab under its adjacent lid side and press the pieces together to adhere. Repeat this process for the remaining 3 corners. And you are done with box 1. You can follow this exact same process to assemble the other 3 boxes. The only differences will be the box's outsides and the lids. You won't be attaching anything to the outside of the 3 inner boxes, and the inner lids won't have triangle-shaped pieces or butterflies to attach. So these boxes should come together much quicker than the first one. When you're done, you'll place box 4, the smallest box, inside of box 3, and put box 3 inside of box 2, and put box 2 inside of box 1, the largest box. Here's what all of my boxes look like once they're assembled and put together. Step 4. Assemble your magic wind-up butterflies. If you're making your own magic butterflies, here's how you assemble them. First, use your tape measure and a pen or pencil to measure a popsicle stick and make a mark at 2 inches. Use your wire cutters to cut the stick at this mark. You may have to press down a few times with the cutters depending on how sharp they are. If you're having trouble getting it to cut all the way through, you can bend and break the stick at the mark made by your cutters. Now take one of your bottom wing pieces, which resemble upside-down hearts, and put a line of glue down the center of the back. Place the popsicle stick onto the glue so the wings are at the bottom curved end. The end you cut will be sticking up above the wings. Position the stick so just a bit of the bottom extends past the center of the wings. Now plug in or turn on your glue gun so it can heat up while you work on the next step. Take your wire and cut a piece about 2 inches long. Flatten it out as best as you can with your fingers. Now use the very tip of your round nose pliers to hold it in the center. Wrap the wire's ends around the pliers until they meet at the bottom, keeping them as straight and parallel as possible. Use your needle nose pliers to pinch the rounded end of your wire to make it as narrow as possible. Use your round nose pliers to fold the rounded end over about 1/4 of an inch. This will make a hook shape. Cut the loose ends of the wire to even them up if necessary. Apply hot glue to the bottom of the popsicle stick. Be careful not to burn yourself. Wearing heat-resistant gloves or using finger protectors can help. Now press the loose wire ends into it so they touch the very bottom of the stick. The rounded end of your hook will be facing down. Set this piece aside for now. Cut another piece of wire about 3 inches long. Straighten it with your fingers. Use your round nose pliers to hold the wire in the very center again, but this time make sure to position the piece of wire at the widest part of the pliers. Wrap the wire around the pliers to make a loop with the ends facing straight out in opposite directions. Now use your needle nose pliers to grip one of the ends just outside the loop you made. Bend this end down so it's perpendicular to the loop. Do the same thing with the other end so they are parallel with each other. You may have to adjust the ends a bit to get them parallel with each other while keeping them perpendicular to the loop. Just make sure your loop stays in a circle shape. If your wire gets misshapen in the process, no worries. Just cut another piece and try again. We're going to glue this wire piece to the back of the popsicle stick. On the opposite side is our first piece. Hold the wire piece on the back of the stick at the top with the loose ends against the stick. Allow the end of the loop to extend above the top of the stick. Make sure the loose ends don't overlap your bottom wings. If they do, just cut them shorter. Make sure both ends are the same length. Now apply a hot glue to the back of the stick in this area. You can use a generous amount because we want to make sure the wire stays in place while we're winding up the finished butterfly's wings. Attach the wire to the stick and leave the top looped part overhanging it. Cut another piece of wire 4.5 inches long. Straighten it with your fingers. This one will need to be as flat and straight as possible, so use the flat part of your needle nose pliers if needed. Use the very tip of your round nose pliers to hold the wire in the center. Wrap the ends around the pliers until they meet at the bottom, keeping them as straight and parallel as possible. Using your needle nose pliers, pinch the rounded end together to make it narrow enough to fit inside the loop of the top piece of wire attached to your popsicle stick. This will be the hook we use to wrap the rubber band around, so a rubber band will still need to fit through the hook after you've shaped it. Use your needle nose pliers to pinch one of the loose ends about 1/4 of an inch from the rounded hook. Bend the remaining wire out at this point so it's angled upward at about 45 degrees. Try to keep the piece as straight as possible. Do this same thing with the other end piece so it's facing in the opposite direction, but the same angle. Lay the shaped wire down on your work surface and make sure it's flat. If any part is bent or sticks up, push it down and flatten it with your pliers. Now take your 2 cardstock pieces for the top wings and fold them in half along the dashed cut lines. Make sure the paper's pretty side faces out. Put a line of glue along the fold on the inside and on one side of the wing. Slide one end of the wire into the wing piece along the fold and close the wing around it so it's sandwiched inside. Now make sure the wider part of the wing faces the same direction as the rounded hook. The end of the wire should be positioned just at the tip of the wing, leaving a bit of wire showing at the other end next to the hook. If any of the loose end of the wire sticks out past the paper, just cut the excess off with your wire cutters. Follow the same process to attach the other wing to the remaining wire end. Now we can attach the rubber band. Take a blue rubber band that's 1/8 of an inch thick and fold it in half around the hook in your wire piece attached to the top wings. Now pinch the ends together and push them through the loop at the top of your popsicle stick. Slide the looped ends over the hook at the bottom of your popsicle stick to fully attach the rubber band to the bottom wings piece. Now it looks like a butterfly. Repeat the process for the other 3 magic butterflies. Once you've finished making all 4 butterflies, you can wind them up one at a time and place them inside box 1. Since the butterflies will want to unwind as soon as you let them go, you'll need both hands free to place them inside the box. Our explosion box doesn't stay closed on its own without the lid, so I found that wrapping a rubber band around the box helped. Take a magic butterfly and wind the wings around 25 to 30 times. The rubber band will start to bunch up, and that's okay. This will create more tension and help the butterflies fly out of the box when it's opened. Once you have it wound up, don't let go of the top wings. Hold them in place until you get them down inside the box. Slide the butterfly down in between the inside of box 1 and the outside of box 2, being careful to avoid the corner wing and pocket pieces. Repeat for the other 3 butterflies. You can place 1 butterfly on each of the 4 sides of the box. If you place a butterfly inside the box and it's too wide or tall to fit, pull it back out and let it unwind. Then bend the top wings up or down more, increasing the angle of the wire on both sides until you get it to a size that fits nicely in the box. Once all 4 butterflies are wound up and tucked inside the box, put the lid on top and make sure the sides are secure before removing the rubber band. Once you remove the lid, the butterflies should fly out, revealing the inside of your explosion box. Definitely try it out so you know what to expect. If you choose to purchase the magic butterflies linked in the materials list instead of creating your own, please note that they are a larger size. You will need to use one of the files labeled Bigger Box for these. The boxes in these files have been divided into 5 parts so they can be cut on a 12 by 12 inch cardstock and will need to be glued together using the tabs. Step 5, add personal touches. And you are done. Now you can write personalized notes on each note card and add any extra surprises to the box before giving it to someone special, like that butterfly lover in your life. Remember to rewind and replace the butterflies. They'll just love seeing the magic butterflies fly out when they open the box. Okay, so here we have both finished butterfly explosion boxes, one with the DIY butterflies inside and the other with the pre-made butterflies that you can buy on Amazon. I thought it would be fun to open up each one together, so here goes. We'll start with the DIY one. All right, now let's try the ones with the pre-made butterflies from Amazon. Now, one thing I want to point out is that I think that butterflies are more likely to fly out of the boxes when you wind them up right before the box is opened. The more time they have to sit and settle, the less likely they are to fly, in my experience. Now, I hope that you like this project as much as I did, and I hope that you'll make it. Isn't this pretty? I love all these butterflies. I hope that you'll make it. I would love to see your photos over in our Cricut group at jennifermaker.com/CricutCrafters. This is also a great place to ask questions and get help with the project, as I'm sure people are going to have some questions. You're also welcome and encouraged to ask questions below this video. Just let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your feedback and ideas too. And that's it for today. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.